This is Shantan, and today I'm gonna help you learn a little bit about Anki and how to use it more effectively if you aren't using it as effectively as you can. I'm a medical student, and I've been using Anki for about a few months now, and I am in love with it. I didn't pick up as an amazing user. I wasn't like the best user in the beginning, but slowly I started learning more features about it, and now I appreciate it every time I use it. So I actually want to talk. One of the main things that I want to talk about today is using tags to get more out of Anki. Let me open up Anki and I'll show you a little bit what I'm talking about. So this is one more thing before I start. You also might want to try out the profiles feature of Anki, which is available uh, which should be available right here. You can switch profile. This way you can, let's say you're trying something new out, or let's say you're using a deck but you don't want to muddle up this deck, you can always use another profile. For example, I actually do that with switch profile. I don't like to muddle up my decks with shared decks that I download from the internet, so I just use another profile where I use the shared decks. So let's switch back to my other profile and here. So what I actually want to show you today is how to use tags to better organize and actually get more out of Anki. So here, this is my deck. I don't have a lot. I don't have a lot. I have a lot of cards in there, but I'm not using it as a space repetition program, because one of the problems that I find with medical school studying is that I have no time to go back and learn something that I already took a test on. And usually I tend to remember it, but I do want to remember it whenever I'm studying for a test. So, for example, my problem is, let's say I have an exam on Monday, or next Monday, no, a week from now, and the problem always works out to be I don't want to waste my time studying for some stuff that is not going to be on the exam. I'd rather spend my time studying for stuff that's on the exam. But I also want the other cards in my deck because eventually I'm going to study for the USMLE or a final exam that is going to encompass all of this information where I want to study for that. And the problem with making like subdecks is it just makes Anki really slow, and I just don't think it's an efficient way. And I think you will see it a little bit once I get into it. So let's say this is my Anki, and let's say I go and I'm going to add a card. Let's say I'm going to add, and I add cards, all of my cards into the default deck. So let's say I said, who let the dogs out? I'm going to say who, and I'm going to add a tag here. So this is where the magic happens. So now let's say I know I'm going to, this is the anatomy one, let's say, and this is going to be exam 1 and week 8. These are the usual tags that I add: anatomy 1, exam 1, and then block 1. So now this happens, and then you know what? I'm also going to add another tag called jokes. So, and you might think, okay, this is going to get annoying, but it's not. Watch this. So I add that, and then you know what? I'm going to add another deck, and as you can see, all of the tags are still available uh, in your tags bar. They're pre-filled, and usually what my experience has been is when I'm sitting down and studying, I only have to change a tag maybe around once every hour, and that too I don't have to change a lot. So maybe I'm done with studying for anatomy, so now I just change it to cell biology. So I just go cell biology, and I have another card. Let's say I don't know. What is my favorite character on Game of Thrones? And I think I misspelled character right, wrong, but I don't care. I'm gonna say Tyrion, and there you go. That's also in jokes, and then add. So now And I've done this with multiple things, and also those. I'm going to remove that from now on, and I don't think I'm going to use that anymore. So let's say now I go to browse, and then I just click on jokes. All my 2 cards that have the jokes are showed up here. And then let's say I click on cell biology, and as you can see, this card is available in it too. Now that's all well and good, but how is that going to help us study? So now let's say I'm studying for something, and let's say I'm studying for a quiz or that is basically only about drugs, and I have a tag for that. So now all I just do is, like, on this window, I just press F, and then it's in deck default, as you can see, and then now I type in tag drugs, and then create a random, and then I'm gonna make that like 1,000. I don't think I have 1,000 drugs, but I'm just showing you, and then I click build. So this is going to build a filter deck, and this is only going to have the drugs, like the stuff that's in the drugs tag under the drugs tag. And this is awesome because, like, here I'm studying and studying and studying and studying, and the good thing is these all are actually still synced, and it's all considered one big deck. So even though you're studying now, this is also being calculated as part of your spaced repetition. So if you're doing that, this also helps you. So that's why you might want to use tags. And I know a lot of people that are using Anki, and they don't tend to use tags because they rather do default, or, like, a new deck for every class, a new deck for every block, or a new deck for every exam. But this way, let's say I only want to study for let's say I'll create another filter deck, and this time I'm going to say I'm going to study for my cell biology, uh, cell biology, cell biology, but I also want to study only the tag that says jokes. So I'm just going to type in jokes, and then there, and then I say 100 or whatever. I don't mess with the options. Create another one. See, as you can see, there is only one card that we just created, and that's that one. And that way you can selectively study and at the same time keep track of, these cards will be part of your the huge deck. So if you can see, and also, yeah, and I think that's how you can organize your decks much better and, more efficiently study. And I already have a drugs deck that I was studying yesterday, and I press rebuild. Let's say, I don't know what's happening there, but yeah, that's, filter deck, and then I'm going to study now, and then study, 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 and then I just go, boom, it's done. Now I can delete this. I'm going to probably delete this because I already have my drugs deck right here, and this is my trials for, like, when I'm trying something out, and this is my default. So I don't have a lot of decks. I only have one deck, and I only study that. And even you can also even go into custom study and change your options depending on how you want to study that day, instead of, like, having a single, a hierarchy of decks within decks within decks, as in subdecks. So that's my tutorial, guys. If you have any more questions about Anki, please leave a comment, and I'll try to answer it as soon as possible. Have a nice one.